And as the president appears to be leaning toward pulling the U.S. out of the Paris Accord, here in California, Governor Jerry Brown is about to travel to China to work on his own environmental agreement. It's called the Under 2 Coalition. The intent is to reduce greenhouse gases to avoid a rise in average global temperatures of 2 degrees Celsius, which is 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Many scientists say that is the threshold for widespread environmental harm. Already, 170 jurisdictions have signed that agreement across 33 countries and 6 continents. That agreement now covers 1.8 billion people. That's 16% of the world's population and about a third of the global economy. This morning, I sat down with the governor for a one-on-one interview and asked him how President Trump's decisions are impacting that work. What is your reaction to the possibility that the U.S. could be pulled out of the Paris Agreement?
Well, the president has already said climate change is a hoax. Which is the exact opposite of virtually all scientific opinion. And I don't believe fighting reality is a good strategy, not for America, not for anybody. So today, China, Europe, India, they're all moving down the road to confront the existential threat that climate change really is. So if Trump is going to be AWOL in this profoundly important human endeavor, then California and other states and other provinces throughout the world will step up. And that's why I'm going to China, to cement the relationship, build for the future, and get the kind of collaboration needed to build the grassroots. So at the top, they may have their head in the sand, if I'm not mixing a metaphor, but down at the bottom, at the grassroots, governors, mayors, we are arousing a very powerful constituency that will overwhelm the negative kind of leadership, if you can even call it that, of President Trump.
So you started this a couple of years ago. You've already gained a lot of traction on this agreement. Talk us through what is going to happen in China on your trip there.
I'm going to meet with the leaders of some key provinces in China. I'm going to meet with leaders in Beijing from the national government. I'm going to speak at the university. We're going to form additional ties so that California and China can be right at the forefront doing what we have to do. Washington is doing a real disservice. It's adding burden instead of facilitating the turn toward a decarbonized future. So California, as being the biggest state, I think the most progressive state, can link with China, just as today China is linking with the European community. So there's lots to do, and actually in a very paradoxical way, President Trump is giving climate denial such a bad name that the opposite, namely climate activism, is receiving a real shot in the arm, and we're going to be all the more activated as the president seems to go off into his wilderness of obscurity and junk science.
So when you're looking at this Under 2 agreement, talk about how, if it's not happening on a national level, you're getting it done on a local level with these alliances around the globe.
Well, let's just take automobiles, which is, and cars and trucks. That's 40% of the carbon pollution in California. Well, the auto companies, they're getting a little questionable now about how strict they're going to be at making their cars cleaner. But California is staying the course, and other states are joining with California. Now, if we are linked with China and Europe, that's a huge world market. That can force the introduction of electric cars and far more efficient vehicles. And that's really my goal, that in Washington, the head of the EPA, the Attorney General, the Energy Department, they're all going back to the 19th century. But in California, in New York, in China, in Europe, we are taking climate change seriously, and California will form agreements, and we're going to do that next week. I'm not coming back empty-handed. We'll come back with some concrete commitments on the part of California and various Chinese provinces and the Chinese national government to get something done in the face of intransigence and I think really misguided behavior there at the White House.
The last time you were in China, obviously the economic developments were a big part of your focus. You came back with a $1.5 billion direct investment from China. Is anything like that on the horizon?
I think there is a lot on the horizon. The Chinese are looking to invest in infrastructure throughout the world. I think California might be a very good place, particularly when we see eye to eye on renewable energy and climate change and cap and trade and these other questions. That at the White House, they're saying, oh, we don't, what is that? We want to get off, stop the world. So when Trump goes rogue, California goes mainstream. And mainstream is dealing with climate change and doing that with China, and then later with Europe, we'll get a lot done.
Is his position hurting your ability to negotiate either on environmental or economic issues?
No, actually, paradoxically, President Trump is fostering more activism to deal with climate change. And he's doing that because his position is so absurd and so against the facts that science tells us that it gives climate denial a very bad name.
Does that mean more people are signing on to your agreement?
They are. We've had over 175 states and provinces and even nations sign on to our under 2, that's under 2 degrees centigrade, as our goal. And that means since the industrial age, we don't want the global temperature to go up more than 2 degrees. So we have a lot of people signed up, and paradoxically, Trump is the foil. He is doing exactly what everybody else wants to do the opposite of. So it's a rather odd situation because America has generally led. Since World War II, America has been in every fight. Right now, America through the White House is AWOL. But California is on the playing field. We're active, and we're going to lead the way forward.